I am never using a Marina again. And today I am giving you the 2026 zero bill strategy to do the same. For most people, a sailboat is just a floating apartment with a really expensive landlord. But while corporate marinas are raising rates and banning older hulls, a secret group of sailors is becoming completely invisible to the system. We are not just anchoring out, we are running sovereign fortresses that generate their own power, their own water, and their own heat for $0 a month. There is a hidden mechanical threshold, a specific tipping point in your gear that determines if you are a free person or a subscriber to the dock. Most people buy the wrong gear and end up crawling back to a slip within a week. But if you master this one specific ghost system, the world's most beautiful harbors become your free backyard forever. Are you ready to stop paying for a slip and start owning your life? Or are you just waiting for the next rent hike to sink you? Slip fees are not just climbing, they are accelerating, and the numbers are no longer subtle. In Hood River, Oregon, the seasonal slip that cost $1,260 just a few years ago now demands $1,588. That is a 26% jump, not over a decade, but since the 2022 schedule. On the east-facing sea dock, a 30-foot berth is now $2,506 for 2025. Larger slips breach the $3,000 mark. Hartshorn Municipal Marina in Michigan posts a $2,554 seasonal rate for boats under 27 feet, up from $2,100 in 2023. The fine print warns, fees listed are not binding, please call for the most up-to-date information. Translation, prices can and will move up without warning. In Canada, Trent Port Marina now requires a $400 deposit just to get in line, up from $250 a few years ago. And that is before the full seasonal rent or the mandatory $2 million of liability insurance. Meanwhile, in the Mediterranean, Marina Geneva reports a 20% revenue surge in 2024, topping €15 million, with occupancy rates now running at 90 to 100%. That is not just price inflation, it is a deliberate squeeze, exploiting demand and capping access for all but the highest bidders. The Vermilion Port Authority in Ohio logged an 11.67% jump in dock revenue this year. Even their $10 annual lease increase on 5-year shoreline contracts might sound modest, but it stacks up fast when applied across an entire fleet. Nationally, the average slip fee growth is now tracking at roughly 15% per year across the West Coast, Great Lakes, and Canada. In the Mediterranean, marinas are hitting their revenue targets not by lowering prices, but by pushing occupancy to the brink and prioritizing super yachts over working-class sailors. These are not isolated spikes. This is a coordinated escalation, driven by digital billing, AI-driven pricing, and a new breed of marina management that treats every berth as a revenue stream to be maximized. The numbers are clear, the corporate noose is tightening, and the water beneath your keel is getting more expensive by the season. Eligibility is no longer just a matter of paying up. The gatekeepers have rewritten the rules of access, and they are enforcing them with a precision that leaves no room for negotiation. At Trent Port Marina, the minimum to even join the waiting list is a $400 deposit, non-refundable, up from $250 just a few seasons ago. But the real wall is $2 million of liability insurance, a number set high enough to thin the herd. If your hull is older or your paperwork does not match the new standards, you will find yourself on the wrong side of the dock. Size limits have become another silent filter. Hartshorn Municipal in Michigan now caps seasonal slips at 27 feet. Anything longer is denied, regardless of how many years you have paid. The policy is not about fairness, it is about clearing out the working-class cruisers and aging hulls, making space for higher-margin, newer boats. If your vessel does not fit the new profile, you are out. No appeal, no grandfather clause. The contract is ironclad. Enforcement is no longer theoretical. Municipal contracts, like Leamington's, include a hard removal clause. After October 15th, any boat still occupying a slip without the proper paperwork or payment can be removed at the owner's expense. This is not rumor, it is written into the lease, and it is being executed. Reports from the Great Lakes in Ontario confirm that fall is now the season of eviction. Miss the insurance deadline or fail to clear the dock by the cutoff, and your boat will be towed or impounded. The message is clear: compliance or removal. No more leniency, no more quiet extensions. The pressure is relentless and calculated. Docks are being removed for repairs, only to return as premium berths with higher fees and tighter eligibility. Owners who once considered themselves safe are learning that the real eviction window is not economic, it is legal, and it is closing fast. Every new clause, every deadline, is a warning. Sovereignty on the water is not a right, it is a skill set. Those who cannot adapt are being forced back to land. For the rest of us, the only way forward is mechanical independence, the kind that makes marinas optional, not essential. Power is the foundation of the zero-bill strategy, a system built for autonomy, not theory. The checklist begins with solar. 3 400-watt monocrystalline panels, each reaching 21% efficiency in full sun, deliver 1,200 watts at peak, enough to run core systems, refrigeration, navigation, and lighting, and keep the battery bank charged with room to spare. Panels mount on an arch or rail and are wired in parallel to maintain safe voltage and isolate shading. Each panel is protected by a 15-amp ANL fuse installed close to the frame, meeting marine safety codes without exception. The solar array feeds into a Victron Smart Solar MPPT 250 100TR charge controller. A 100-amp minimum is essential. This controller tracks sunlight with over 99% efficiency and can handle up to 2,500 watts per input. Charging profiles, bulk, absorption, and float are programmed to match battery chemistry and are never left at factory defaults. Bluetooth connectivity provides real-time system data showing exactly what energy is moving through the network. The battery bank is lithium iron phosphate, Life PO4, chosen for its longevity and resilience. A 12-volt, 400-amp-hour pack delivers 4.8 kilowatt-hours, usable at 80% depth of discharge, supporting a 1,200-watt inverter for 4 hours or a week of typical loads with solar top-offs. Protection comes from a Victron BMS and a shunt monitor like the BMV712, tracking state of charge, current, and temperature, all visible on a panel or phone. Cabling is oversized 20 AWG tinned copper, fused at 300 amps within a meter of the bank. All terminals use marine-grade glands routed through watertight conduit. A C output is protected by a 15-amp double pole breaker for each branch, with surge protection at the panel. Fuses are Marine Class C, resettable by hand. A bilge-rated disconnect rated at 350 amps sits near the bank. Maintenance is minimal, firmware updates, visual checks, and capacity tests totaling 4 hours a year. This is energy independence by design. Every square foot of deck is a battlefield between comfort and autonomy. The return on investment for solar hardware is not just theoretical, it is a line item calculation that pays out every month you are off the grid. 3 400-watt monocrystalline panels, each retailing between $250 and $450, turn a $1,200 outlay into a permanent utility rebate. At a marina, that is what a single season of power can cost. On your own hull, that is 5 years of free energy, rain or shine. But the math only works if the infrastructure is bulletproof. Power flows from the panels through oversized 20 AWG tinned copper cable, marine grade, UV rated, and thick enough to shrug off voltage drop at 100 amps. Each panel is fused independently with a 15-amp ANL device mounted within arm's reach of the frame. That fuse is not just a code requirement, it is the firewall that stops a single cracked panel from taking down your entire array. Every conductor is routed through watertight gland kits, with connections torqued to spec and checked for corrosion twice a season. The main bus carries a 300-amp ANL fuse mounted within a meter of the battery bank. If something shorts, the system isolates instantly, protecting both the lithium pack and the crew. This is where the numbers justify the mission. At $1 per watt installed, the payback period is measured in Marina bills avoided. Even factoring in the cost of 2.0 AWG cable, often $8 a foot, plus marine breakers, the total project rarely exceeds $1,700. Divide that by the $150 a month. Most marinas now charge for electricity alone, and the break-even point lands before your second hurricane season. After that, every amp hour is a dividend. The deck becomes your solar real estate, and every fuse, every conductor is part of the sovereign fortress that keeps you free from the corporate grid. This is not theory, it is spreadsheet logic, hardened by saltwater and tested by storms. The next system to liberate is water. Water is the second pillar of the sovereign fortress. Forget dockside hoses and marina meters, real autonomy starts with a pump, a membrane, and the numbers to back it up. The backbone is a do-it-yourself reverse osmosis kit, field-proven and available for under $500. Typical output lands between 10 and 25 liters per hour, depending on the membrane and pump you select. The critical variable is amperage. Most marine-grade high-pressure pumps draw 28 to 30 amps at 12 volts. That is a 360-watt load, running straight from your Life PO4 bank. Here is the tactical breakdown. Daily water demand for 2 people for drinking, cooking, and light hygiene hovers around 30 to 40 liters. At 15 liters per hour, a standard reverse osmosis unit covers that in just over 2 hours of runtime. Multiply 30 amps by 2 hours, and you are looking at 60 amp hours per day. With a 400 amp hour bank, that is less than 15% of your total reserve, a margin that solar can easily replace by mid-afternoon, even with clouds in the forecast. The Sovereign Architect calculator confirms it. If you run the water maker for 2 hours each morning, you will meet all basic needs without denting your energy budget. The system is protected by a 40 amp fuse and a pressure switch that shuts the pump off above 1000 psi. Pre-filtration is handled by a 5-micron cartridge, swapped every 200 hours of operation. Every number is visible, every variable controlled. This is not a guess, it is the math of independence, 1 liter at a time. Maintenance and troubleshooting are next, because no fortress endures without discipline. A water maker is only as reliable as its weakest filter. Ignore the membrane and the entire system grinds to a halt right when you need it most. The sovereign fortress runs on discipline, not hope. Every 200 hours, the 5-micron pre-filter comes out. If you see brown streaks or a drop in flow, change it immediately. Salt creep, sand, or a faint rotten egg odor are your early warnings. Membrane fouling is not a distant threat. It is a silent enemy that strikes when routine slips. Flush with fresh water after every run. Keep a spare membrane in vacuum-sealed storage, not buried in a locker with last year's tools. But even the hardest working water maker can be sidelined by a broken pump or a fouled intake. That is where redundancy steps in. The rain catch bladder is your insurance policy. 1 square meter of capture area yields about 4 liters per hour in a typical coastal downpour, and a 30mm rain event can fill a 70-liter bladder by nightfall. Deck gutters feed a food-grade hose routed straight to a UV sterilized bladder. This water is not just backup, it is a zero-energy dividend. When the sky opens up, you bank every drop. Maintenance is not a chore, it is the price of sovereignty. Inspect the pre-filter monthly. Swap membranes every 2 years, or sooner if you see pressure spikes or a sharp decline in output. Keep the rain bladder rinsed and sun-dried between uses to prevent algae. The Sovereign Architect does not gamble on luck or weather. You build redundancy into the hull, and you keep your water flowing, no matter what the ocean throws at you. Next comes the anchor, your iron lease. Anchoring is not a ritual, it's your contract with the sea, the original lease that can't be revoked by a marina manager or priced out by a boardroom. The iron lease begins with one uncompromising rule: size your anchor for the worst night, not the best afternoon. For a 35-foot hull, that means nothing lighter than 20 kilograms or 44 pounds, of high-holding steel, Rockna or Mantus, bolted to the bow with a shackle rated for twice the boat's displacement. The chain is your insurance policy, 3/8-inch G4, 100 feet minimum, 200 feet if you want to sleep through a midnight squall. G4 delivers a working load of 5,400 pounds, enough to hold a city bus, let alone a coastal cruiser. Every link is checked for corrosion, every splice whipped and seized. Scope is not a suggestion. Standard holding starts at 5:1, 5 feet of road for every foot of water, measured from the bow roller to the seabed. When the wind clocks above 25 knots, stretch to 7:1 and add a snubber, 30 feet of nylon, ½ inch or thicker, rigged with a chain hook and led well clear of the bow pulpit. The snubber absorbs shock loads that would otherwise tear out cleats or snap chain. Deploy 2 anchors in a V if the forecast calls for a blow, or if the bottom is soft and holding is uncertain. Redundancy is not paranoia, it's prudence. My own windlass runs a dedicated 30-amp circuit fused at the panel with a manual override for hand retrieval. Spare shackles are lashed to the pulpit, and a backup Fortress anchor rides in the locker, ready for instant deployment. This is not overkill. This is the difference between a night spent on watch and a night spent at peace, knowing your iron lease holds, no matter what the ocean throws at you. The savings are not just financial, they are measured in hours of sleep and the quiet certainty that you answer to the weather, not a dockmaster. Freedom on the water is not a theory, it is a spreadsheet, and the math is brutal for the marinas. The difference between a $3,000 slip and a $45 monthly maintenance bill is not just a lifestyle choice, it is a declaration of independence. Here is the proof: 3 checkpoints, 3 hard numbers, and a diagnostic test that separates the sovereign from the wishful. First, the power pillar. If your solar system covers every amp hour your boat demands, refrigeration, lights, navigation, even a morning coffee without ever plugging into the dock, you have passed checkpoint 1. The numbers do not lie: 1,200 watts of solar, a 400 amp hour lithium bank, and a $1,700 outlay. At $150 a month for Marina electricity, you break even in a year. Every month after, the grid pays you because you are not paying them. Second, water. If your reverse osmosis kit and rain catch bladder can deliver 40 liters a day, and you can swap a pre-filter in under 10 minutes, the dock hose is obsolete. That $500 water maker, running 2 hours on solar, wipes out the $40 monthly water bill. Over 5 years, that is $2,400 you never send to the Marina office. Third, the iron lease. If your anchor holds through a midnight squall and your chain comes up clean after a week on the hook, you are not just surviving, you are thriving. A $900 ground tackle setup, amortized over 5 seasons, costs less than a single month's rent at a premium slip. The only contract you sign is with the seabed. Run the diagnostic. Do you generate your own power, make your own water, and sleep through a gale on your own tackle? If you answer yes to all 3, you are not a tenant, you are the architect of your own sovereignty. The zero-bill strategy is not a dream, it is a system. The only question left: are you running it, or is the Marina running you? Today, the corporate noose tightens. $1,200 slips and October 15th removal deadlines are the new Marina normal. But out here, with $500 do-it-yourself. Water makers, 400-watt solar, and ground tackle that laughs at the storm, you hold the keys to your own sovereign fortress. Freedom isn't given, it's engineered, maintained, and earned. The ocean's invoice is paid in competence, not rent. Drop your thoughts below. Let's see who else is building their escape.